here at Shoal Creek in Austin. One of my favorite little getaway spots to come and calm my mind, meditate. You can see we're in the city, but we're also in nature, and one of my favorite spots to come and just chill out and meditate. I've got this smoothie that I made today. It's 2 different types of mangoes, Atolfos and Tommy's, and then some strawberries. And it's just like, it's like if you blended up Starburst and Skittles and made it ooey gooey good. Oh, it'd be this. It's just heaven. I've been having to drink it slow, but yeah, just mangoes and strawberries. Oh, it's so good. So it's been a long time since I made a video. My flip camera broke, so I'm just trying to do this on my phone. And I don't know how it's going to turn out. I was kind of attached to that camera. I've been pretty bummed out since it broke and haven't been making any videos, but decided to give this a shot today because I was chatting with somebody about the whole raw food thing, and we're talking about how we both got into it and kind of the story behind that. And it got me thinking about a few things. Mainly that I told them the main difference when I started eating healthier was that I was feeling so bad before that I just forgot what feeling good felt like. And I was just in this state where I was constantly trying to stimulate myself with things like, computer games and energy drinks and, really intense exercise, loud music, to try to feel good, because those are the only things that, really made me feel good. The rest of life, just at steady state, was pretty rough. I was in, a lot of pain and didn't sleep well and a lot of discomfort and just not feeling good. Like my default state was not feeling good. And I would have to do these things to stimulate myself into temporarily feeling good, and then of course they'd be accompanied by lows afterwards. And I remember listening to Dennis Leary, who's a comedian. He's one of my favorites, and he has this album called No Cure for Cancer, which is basically all about how he loves meat, beer, coffee, and cigarettes. And it's really funny. He makes fun of vegetarians in it. He makes fun of the health nuts, and I think that kind of programmed me for a long time. It's just the things that he said in it, even though they didn't make much sense reading back to it, listening to it again. But I remember one thing stuck out at me. I was thinking about how he said, people complain about not being happy all the time, and just, saying that I'm just not happy, and saying, well, happiness is a cigarette or a cookie or a 5-second orgasm. And you do that and you get on with your life, and that's all you get, and stop being a baby about it. And I thought more about sort of the paradigm that he was coming from when he said that. I'm sure he meant it, but it was also a joke. But when you're in this state, when your staples are meat, beer, coffee, and cigarettes, you're not going to be feeling good most of the time. Your default state is going to be feeling pretty shitty, is what I imagine. I've never smoked a cigarette a day in my life. I've never smoked a single one, thankfully, because I know that I'm pretty prone to addictive behaviors of certain things, especially like video games and caffeine for a while. But anyway, so coming from this paradigm of constantly doing these unhealthy things to your body, yes, the only time you're going to feel happy is when you stimulate yourselves with things like nicotine or caffeine or refined sugar, things like that. That's really your default state, is going to be feeling pretty awful. When you do these things, you're going to feel a little bit better. And now that I'm kind of in this health paradigm, I know that feeling good, feeling happy can be the default state, that you don't need to stimulate yourself to feel happy. And I think that's why a lot of people who are really health conscious are looked at as so weird, because it's like, we're just doing these things because they make us feel happy. But it's like, eating an orange isn't like the same thing as smoking a cigarette. It's not going to stimulate me. It's just going to taste pretty good. But as I'm doing these things, eating healthy, getting plenty of rest, drinking plenty of water, getting exercise every day, it just contributes and builds this overall state of health where I'm feeling good most of the time. Not 100% all the time. Most of the time, my default state is feeling really good, as opposed to when I was unhealthy, my default state was feeling terrible, and then constantly seeking out these things like video games and energy drinks and loud music to stimulate myself, to make me feel good temporarily, but then always be accompanied by this weird low. And so when you're in that state of like being unhealthy and constantly trying to stimulate yourself, your default state is to feel bad, and then you do these things that provide temporary relief, but in the end only make you end up feeling worse. Whereas if you're in a paradigm of health, you're just constantly doing things that are contributing to overall health, and happiness and well-being are just kind of a default state. Yeah, you can still do things to stimulate yourself every once in a while, but you kind of realize that the lows accompanying after the highs really aren't worth it. I think Dan McDonald said one time, it's like, I did every drug there was, and I can tell you that health's the best because you never come down. There's no coming down. You just keep going up and up and up. And like I said, it's not 100%, dancing with unicorns all the time, but you just feel better and you do things to contribute to this overall state of health, as opposed to doing, finite, discrete things to constantly stimulate yourself. And so it's a completely different paradigm, but, once you're in it, you understand. So I guess today's lesson is keep doing the things to build health, like, eating fruits and vegetables, drinking water, getting sleep, getting exercise, to build to just a overall level where happiness and well-being is the default state, and then you won't need to constantly do things to stimulate yourself, to make yourself be happy. You'll just be happy more of the time and feel better overall. And really, for the people who are still in that mindset where they got to stimulate themselves because life overall does not feel that good, well, the only thing we can really do is set an example and hope that they pick up on it and follow along. So let me know your thoughts on this, guys. Glad to be back. Hope to hear from you. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this channel. Thanks.